Using a range of technologies was an important part of my coursework this year, as it was a way in which I could present my weekly tasks in an interesting way. Through the 4 stages of research, planning, construction and evaluation of my media project, I have used a range of different technologies in order to gain a level 4 and create an effective number of projects. Throughout the whole process of creating the 3 products I used the website Blogger to document my group's progress. This was a useful platform to present my work on, as it allows you to make daily blog entries to document the strengths and weaknesses of the process. This allowed me to look back at what was good about the group's work and what wasn't so strong and needed to be worked on. This allowed me to easily access any work that I had done and go back to refer to any previous tasks. Blog also allowed me to incorporate other pieces of work which were created from different technologies, for example Prezi and Infogram. One of the first tasks in the research stage was to create mood boards of different music genres and then analyse them. I used Microsoft PowerPoint to create these mood boards on, as I wanted a clear and concise way in which to present my work. However, I wanted to use a more mature technology, so I opted to use SoundCloud and make a podcast to present my findings. I felt that this was a more interesting and engaging way to analyse my mood board. After I had made the recording, I then uploaded it to Blogger to explain and analyse my ideas further. This was good, as it meant that I could analyse my mood board in a more fluid way without having to read off a script. The second task was to conduct research into our primary and secondary audiences. At first, the group wasn't sure how to go about conducting this research, so we thought about handing out questionnaires and surveys to our audience and collecting feedback from this. However, we then decided against this method, as we thought we wouldn't obtain very detailed or helpful answers, as people may have not answered them truthfully or taken much time in doing them. So in the end, we decided to complete a Survey Monkey and make a video where we interviewed people who were relevant to our target audience on the spot. To do this, we used our phones, as we had cameras on them which we thought were of sufficient quality to film with. We decided that we didn't want the interviews to have a script, as we wanted the interview to feel like a normal conversation, so that people would feel comfortable enough to give their honest opinions and thoughts on the questions which we were asking them. By doing the interviews, it allowed us to get more detailed answers and obtain useful and interesting responses which we as a group may not have thought about ourselves. This meant that our final product would suit the target audience, as it is moulded around some of their answers which we may have not incorporated beforehand. As well as the videos, we also created a SurveyMonkey in which we asked our target audience specific questions which we thought would be relevant to creating our final products. This was a useful technology to use, as we could ask our target audience the specific questions which we wanted to know the answers to and present it in a clear and precise way in order to make our findings clear and easy to understand. For the planning aspect of our research, it was important that we communicated well as a group and kept each other informed and updated with our findings. To keep in contact with each other outside of college, we created a WhatsApp group so we could communicate easily on a regular basis. This was useful for when we were arranging to film or take photographs outside of lesson time. We could easily inform each other of where and when we wanted to meet, what equipment we needed to bring, and any equipment that we needed to use in order to work effectively. As well as this, we also had to communicate well in lesson time. We proposed to do this by having weekly group meetings where we would organise what each person would be doing with their time throughout the week. Some weeks this worked extremely effectively and we were able to give out specific tasks, especially during the construction stage, as we gave tasks out such as someone doing the digipack, someone doing the website and someone doing the music video. However, during some weeks the group would find it more difficult to stick to one task, and each activity may have become blurred between the group and people would do several aspects of several activities. This was good in one way, as it meant the group had involvement in most of the tasks and knew exactly what was going on. However, it could also be a bad thing, as people could be doing several different tasks at one time. During the construction stage of the project, we used several different technologies, including an industry camera, SLR camera, tripod, industry lights, tracks, Photoshop, iMovie and Final Cut. By using all of these different technologies, we were able to create effective final products which fitted well with our genre and were up to a standard which we were happy with. As none of the group had any particular experience in using the industry equipment, we did have some difficulties when filming or taking photographs. However, we managed to all learn on the job and became quite familiar with these technologies after a short time, which allowed us to create effective final products. The technology that the group used most in the research and planning stage of the project was a website called Prezi. This website was very easy and simple to access and use. It allowed us to present our information and findings in an easy yet fun way. Prezi was also useful, as you could either choose to have a series of information on the presentation or go down a different route and have less information on your presentation. Or you could go down a different route on your presentation but have a voiceover on it instead, which allowed all of the information to be conveyed without the presentation becoming boring. Although Prezi is a very useful technology to use, it was less advanced than other technologies which we did choose to use. As Web 2.0 has become more advanced, it now means that more and more information is available to us. As a group, we definitely used this to our advantage, as we wanted to gain research from as many sources as possible. We did this by using websites such as Google, Wikipedia, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many more. We used the social media sites to gain feedback for any ideas we had as a group. This was a good way of gaining feedback, as we were able to receive it almost instantaneously from our audience, as social media is a very big part of young people's lives. We used Wikipedia and Google to help us when researching existing products to give us inspiration for our own. By researching other products, it allowed us to understand the convention of successful products, which we could then pass through to our own, making them more effective. YouTube was also a helpful technology to use for our group, as we could research how to do certain things which we felt our skills weren't advanced enough in, such as Final Cut or Photoshop. YouTube helped us to develop our skills further in these technologies. As well as these other technologies, we also found a website called Infogram. This allowed us to make detailed lists of information, and we could also include images and videos within these presentations. They were a fun, straightforward and easy way to understand, to present our findings and information. We used this website in the planning stages of our project when we had to apply for production roles in our group. This was a good technology to use as it presented clear and concise information. However, we found that it sometimes took quite a long time to load. In the planning stage of our project, one technology which we used a lot was email. We used this to not only contact each other, but also to get permission to enable us to create our project. When planning on what song we wanted to make a music video for, we had to contact the artist in order to get permission to actually use the song which we wanted to. As well as this, when we were planning on where we actually wanted to locate the actual shoots for our music video, we had to email the owners of the properties that we wanted to shoot on. This ensured that whenever we did something, we had the correct permission to do so there was no difficulties when it came to publishing our final products online. During the construction of our coursework, we didn't use as many during the construction of our digipack, we didn't use as many technologies as in the planning stage, because this was the time when we had to produce all of our footage. However, even though we used less technologies, we definitely used more advanced ones. To shoot the footage for our music video, we used an industry camera. None of our group had much experience in using the video camera, so this was one difficulty which we faced when it came to actually constructing our music video, as we wanted to shoot footage which was of a good quality, but none of us were sure of what we would need to do to achieve this. Our group managed to overcome this by doing practice shots on the video camera to ensure that the footage which we were creating was believable for the audience. We also asked our teacher if we had any difficulties with aspects of the camera when we were filming, and also asked her for feedback on the footage, which we had already taken to ensure that she thought it was of good enough standard. As well as the industry camera, we used an SLR camera to capture the images which we wanted to use on our digipack and website. This was a good choice for our group, as we all had some experience in using the SLR camera, so we had confidence that the images which we were capturing were of a good quality and a high standard for our products. We wanted to make sure that our images were strong enough to make the products look sophisticated and like real media products on the market. When it came to editing the music video, we first uploaded the footage to iMovie, and then after we exported it into Final Cut. I personally found that the editing process was the hardest part of the whole project for me, as I had no prior experience with these technologies or with editing at all. This was quite a common feeling amongst the whole of our group, so this was a big concern for us. However, we all came together as a group and managed to learn on the job. We each had an attempt at editing the footage, and the programs began to become more familiar to us. As well as this, we gained skills by having help from our teacher and students who were familiar with these programs. This was useful to us as we learnt from people who knew how to use them effectively to create a successful product. Overall, I feel that I now have a much better understanding of how to use these technologies, having completed our project, and this is something I can take forward. When it came to constructing the digipack, we didn't have to use as many technologies, as it was a simpler product to make. The technology